Countdown show. All right. Oh, welcome. Hang on. Whoa. What's going on? Welcome. It's the kind of satanic cat. That was a sort of random filter that I picked. But welcome. This is Cop On Podcast. This is a sort of pilot. We're going to have this this kind of what do you call it? Hang on. Let's pick a friendlier one here. Hang on. There you go.
I was a bit scared of that one.
It's a bit scary, yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Hang on. What about this one? Yeah, that's nice and friendly, isn't it? Who can, be afraid of a banana? I don't know. So this is Cop On Podcast. If you're there, I think we've got some people in already. Thank you very much. Do send us your comments in the chat. This is an interactive show. It's the first one. It's sort of like think of it as a pilot, because very exciting news is that I managed to get some sponsorship that allows me to go on YouTube and do a weekly Premier League preview show. And I'm really excited about it. Really, really, really excited, which is why I've got banana filters on. But there you go, back in the room. So let us know your comments. We're going to go through a preview of the Premier League's action, and with me on your screens you can see Jack Mack. Hello, Jack. Say hi to everybody.
Hi everyone. Thank you very much for having me on, Owen. The first of the new season. Lovely to meet Abdul as well, and hopefully everyone at home is having a lovely evening as well. But can't wait to get stuck into tonight's episode, mate.
Man, I can't wait. I can't wait either. Abdul, how are you? What's going on?
I'm not too bad, guys. How you doing? Just chilling. How you guys doing? You right?
Very good, thank you. I just had some Indian food. Actually, Nepalese, cooked by Nepalese chefs, and it was absolutely fabulous. It was really, really good. So if you're watching, do leave your comments. Do things like that. I don't know how this is going to work. I've been trying to make some videos. And today we're going to talk about the Premier League. Of course, it's the Premier League preview show, the first one. We were supposed to have a Man United guest, but he chickened out at the last minute. We might have a Manchester City guest and a Chelsea guest joining us as well, hopefully. But there you go. Jack, the Premier League's coming back. It's in your beautiful city of Liverpool, Anfield Road, on a scale of T-shirts, let's say, for example. If you had a T-shirt with Boris Johnson's face, that's as least excited as you can be. Or you got a T-shirt of Kloppo as the most excited you can be. What T-shirt of excitement are you wearing?
Defo Jurgen Klopp one. I don't think anyone around Liverpool will be wearing a Boris Johnson one. But it's the anticipation really back at Anfield. As me and you have spoken, Owen, and most Reds, the atmosphere, I think it'll be absolutely bouncing. It's an early kickoff, which usually tend to not be the best atmospheres. They take a while. A couple of goals flying in early doors would help that, but yeah, there's no other stadium in the Premier League that has missed its fans more than Liverpool, and obviously the results in which we had last year. And fingers crossed, it adds an extra 10, 15, 20 points within a Premier League season. And I think the atmosphere and the crowd getting behind the lads this year will very much help. And it improved the quality of the games as well, most importantly, not just in Liverpool, but up and down the rest of the Premier League as well.
It's a great answer. Abdul, you were just online shopping for Jurgen Klopp T-shirts? How are you feeling about this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great match, great test for the team after Norwich. It's a bit of an easier one. You want to be respectful to your Premier League counterparts. But yeah, I think Norwich was good to get out of the way, but Burnley is a proper test. So we're going to see. I'm really excited to see like what lineup Klopp's going to put out. He's already been talking today about bringing back in Henderson and Thiago. You have no idea where he's going to go with the midfield. You know, the shock news that Andy Robertson is already back in training is just a lot of good, exciting news for Liverpool fans right now. So yeah, can't wait to see us on Matchday too.
Absolutely wonderful. Where are you going to be watching it, Abdul?
Possibly. There's a pub down the road. It's called the King's Arm. I'm in Chelsea territory right now, though. So last time I went in for last week's game, it's just Chelsea fans and then me just on Liverpool. So it might not be the best situation, but yeah, I'm still going to try and make it down to the pub.
Whatever you do, don't show them Mo Salah's statistics versus Didier Drogba, because not only will they not believe you, that you might get into some kind of trouble for spreading false messages, even though it's true. It's absolutely true. He's way more effective than Drogba, although what a player, Drogba, of course. So there you go, Burnley. Liverpool Burnley is the first match. Let's see if I can. This is all new to me. I don't know. I've got loads of different things. Oh yeah, my mum is going to pop in with some words of wisdom.
In a battle between elephants, the ants get squashed.
Like that, for example. So you know, she'll pop in from time to time just to give us some pearls of wisdom. In a battle between elephants, the ants get squashed, and I think that's an old proverb. I think it might be from the north of India, though I'm not entirely sure that proverb. But my mum would know, of course. She knows most things, but in terms of there are loads of rumours going around before we get into the Premier League. There are loads of rumours going around about. I don't know, the big boys going off on this Super League thing. You've got Manchester City as well looking to sign Kane. You've got the big boys, the elephants. Manchester United, the big spenders, Chelsea, the big spenders. Are the ants going to get trampled? Are you actually worried, generally speaking, about the future of football? Because the bigger these guys get, the more by the wayside you'll have more and more clubs going out of, going out of business, like Bury and things like that. But what do you make of it, Jack?
Yeah, it's difficult, obviously, when you're a fan of a bigger club to say, no disrespect to the other clubs in England, but it wasn't nice to see Bury, the likes of Portsmouth, other clubs up and down, even Newcastle to an extent, but not in terms of that drastic. To Bury, the football clubs are the lifeblood and play a massive part in society within the up and down the country, and it's people's like the go to match to escape. And it's a great meet mates, meet wives, meet everyone different. Every point of life is focused, especially within a city of Liverpool. Football is very, very much driven. Every conversation that you have, you go to a party, winds up all your Everton mates, wind them up. But yeah, it's sad to see. And there'll be a lot of Liverpool fans or a lot of football fans that are just focused solely on their individual clubs, and everyone's entitled to their opinions as well. But for me personally, it's not nice to see seeing the likes of Bury disappear, and we will see a lot more clubs in the next couple of years, given the sheer extent of how big football will become. I think you will be seeing in 20, 30, 40, 50 years time, you will be seeing billion footballers. We've seen how global Messi, Ronaldo, the players in the next 20, 30 years. When the introduction of Sky, football is always driven. Football, even in the early 1900s anyway, it was always who had the most money was probably most successful. You could argue the Leicester Premier League win, that was very rare to see that happen. Even when Blackburn won the league, they pumped a load of money in. United, Liverpool in the 70s and 80s, they bought big players. So it's sadly it's going in that direction. And there's surely got to be a limit, but it's taken away from the fans as well, which is the most important thing. Like just the fact of getting a shirt. If you're a family of like 4 or 5, you got a couple of kids, or even on your own, just getting a shirt, you're looking at, and that's be for 100 odd quid just for this t-shirt on itself. And then if you go in the game, or if you're traveling away from home as well, you're getting a ticket, transport. Every single season, it's creeping up and creeping up and creeping up. There's going to be a point within the Super League very much got everyone together, regardless of what football club. You'd have Man United and Liverpool fans joining together for the love of football, regardless of your club rivalries. But I'd say it's going to stop, but I think it will continue to go. The prices will keep on creeping. They're pushing out. Well, they brand us all as legacy fans. It's very Americanized. These owners, obviously, they don't really care. They've got control of these. They own the businesses, don't they? And up and down the UK, and obviously it's very rare. Like the Leicester City owners, they actually care, and even the Man City owners. Yes, they've got a lot of money, but I think they really they buy into Manchester. I don't know. Yes, I mean, of course, they've invested a lot in the infrastructure. They've invested a lot in the city, but I think they could still do more. But no, it's very interesting. Thank you very much, Jack. Thank you very much. It's nice to see Osman in the chat, and he says, Abdul, the streets are saying you're FSG in. Is that true? Can you, I don't know. Explain it.
That's big. I've been put on the spot there. Wow. I mean, by default, I would, absolutely say that if you asked me a question about how well have FSG done as Liverpool owners, I would give them absolutely glowing report cards. I mean, in every single sense, this club has been transformed since they walked in as the owners just over a decade ago. You know, that period when they walked into the club was so impactful for me in my life. I was even Googling who the lawyers they were using were to help with the entire takeover process, so that I could apply to go and do a little bit of work experience there. So I mean, that I've watched FSG since they came in, and I can't really find that many flaws with them. I mean, obviously you've got the stuff about ticket prices. They tried to put that up. You've got the stuff about, they tried to trademark the Liverbird flag, all of these like PR disasters, if you want to call them. But in general, this club has completely been transformed since they walked in the door. And I feel like people need to start paying a bit of respect to that, rather than trying to say like, oh no, it's all Klopp. Oh no, it's all this, all that. The success of Liverpool Football Club is not down to one individual, which is the best thing about the club right now, because for a very long period, we had the era of Steven Gerrard, where he was lifting the club up on his back by himself. Or we had talismanic strikers like Torres or Suarez who were delivering for us, but all individuals. But right now, this football club has been driven, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch, by a collective of individuals. And that system, that structure has been put in place by FSG. So I'm not shy to say that I'm fully for them at the moment.
Well, I think I totally agree with you. I think I absolutely agree with you, because I think that, someone put on Twitter the other day, it's like that sketch of Monty Python. Well, what have the Romans ever done for us? So you think about what have FSG ever done for us, right? I mean, they've saved us from administration. They've expanded the stadium. And apart from that, what have they done for us? Well, they've won us the Champions League, and they brought Klopp in. Yeah, but what else apart from that? Oh, yeah, they've won us the Premier League, and they brought us Mo Salah, and they brought us Sadio Mane and Bobby Firmino, etc. And it's a huge list, and I thought that was a pretty good way of saying it. But what we've got in Cop On Live today is we've got the dogs that can tell us whether our opinions are right or wrong. So both of us are saying that FSG are doing a pretty good job, although they're making mistakes. Jack, would you agree with that?
Yeah, spot on what Abdul said.
Okay,
I think.
Okay, but sorry. Just quickly. So, Jack, I want you to choose the number for a dog. Okay, we've got dog 1, dog 2, dog 3, or dog 4, and then we'll see if our opinion is correct or not.
Go number 4.
Dog 4. Okay, I've got to find dog 4. Where did I leave it? That's the one I can't remember where it is. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've got it here. 1 second. I'll just find dog 4. Yeah, hang on. Tab. Where is it? Dog 4. There it is. Share the screen. And oh man, the dog is FSG. The dog is FSG out. So there you go. So it's maybe we're wrong, guys. Maybe we're wrong. Let's move on then. The Premier League itself. Let's hi to everybody in the chat. By the way, do leave your comments. We're going to get through all of them. You can lead this. You, the viewers, leading this thing. 1892 Reds podcast. Hope you're well, guys. Really nice to see you in the chat. Great to see it. 1892 Reds, a great podcast. Do check that out, everybody. Okay, let's try and share again. Hang on, what do I do? I press stop here. Good Lord, StreamYard. I'm getting the hang of it. Share the screen. Talk amongst yourselves for a while. Hang on. Where are we?
It's all right, mate. So it took me a while. It's great technology, but I was at the time when I done my first live streams on this, I had me mic on mute and everything.
Oh yeah, okay. Well that's it. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to do that lots of times. But if you complain, you can always get your money back. Don't worry about it. Okay, Liverpool, Burnley. We'll go in order, in chronological order. We'll start with Liverpool. Even Liverpool, Burnley is very, very exciting. Jack, you've already talked about the importance of the crowd. We've already talked about a little bit about where you're going to watch it. Maybe you're going to watch it incognito in a Chelsea bar. I'm going to watch it right here at my mum's place. And it's good because we don't have the neighbours are away, so I can scream as loudly as I like. Scream like what was it, Linda Blair in The Exorcist? No, who's even like louder and more frightening than that? Anyway, look at these facts, Abdul. Liverpool lost 1-0 at home against Burnley in the Premier League. Can you see that? Shall I zoom in a bit?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, see that much.
There you go. I don't know. For the visually challenged like myself, or if you're watching on your mobile, maybe you might want to zoom in a bit more. There you go. Liverpool lost 1-0 at home against Burnley in the Premier League last season. Of course they did. 21st of January. Awful game. Ending their 68-match unbeaten league run at Anfield. The Clarets' last 1 consecutive away league matches against Liverpool in their first 2 attempts back in the 1894-95 and 1896-97 season, which is
a while ago.
That's quite good, isn't it, Abdul? I mean, that's quite a good omen. They haven't done it for over a century, 125 years.
Yeah.
Are you feeling pretty confident, Abdul?
It's at Anfield, isn't it?
Is that Anfield?
Yeah. Yeah, we should win. If we don't win in front of our fans after not seeing them for well over a year, then it'll be a tiny bit embarrassing, to be honest. But yeah, just looking at the form of the team, and yeah, that stat that you just showed us, we should win. And I'm touching wood here because you never know with football. But yeah, we should win.
And there are a few questions. There's a classic question: would you play Jota or Bobby up front?
Yeah, I think I would go Firmino just because he's been on fire. If he was any less on fire, if he didn't get the goals in preseason or the goal in the last match, then I would have started Jota. But Bobby, I think, has shown that he wants it, so he gets it basically.
Thank you very much. I would agree. But Jack, the other day you were saying Jota. You prefer Jota. Is that true? You're still going with that?
I love them both, but due to the aerial presence of Jota, he's quite good in the air, especially against Burnley. But I tell you, if Bobby bangs in an hat-trick or Jota, we'll be absolutely buzzing. But yeah, for me, or even play all 4 of them, but I don't think he will. Yeah, again. But it's good that we've got the option to come off the bench if needs be, if the game is going a bit sideways. But it's great that we've actually got a bit of squad depth.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we'll take hat tricks. We'll take 1 goal. We'll take 1 assist, or even I don't know. Who cares if Alisson could score the winner? Who knows? I mean, okay. Hang on, what have I got here? I've just got so many toys. I'm gonna. There you go. I like that video. Yeah, the next one. Burnley have suffered 10 defeats in 14 Premier League matches against Liverpool. And if they lose in this match, it means that they will lose more than 10 Premier League games against an opponent for the first time. Because they've also lost 10 times against Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man City. So that would be a good record to have. But when they beat us last time, we had Chamberlain as one of the front three. And we had Divock. And we had Shaqiri in midfield. And Thiago was playing the number 6. And Wijnaldum was next to him. So you don't have much going backwards, and going forwards, it was a bit disjointed. We didn't do very well in that match. But tomorrow, I'm just confident. I'm just confident. The odds, the odds say that it's going to be a Liverpool win. I've got odds checker here. Home win is 2-9, 9-2 on. So you put €2, you get. No, you put €9, you get 2 back. A draw is 34-5. So you put 5 drachma and you get 34 back. And then an away win is 33-2. God knows how they work this out. So you put 2 rubles and you get 33 back. But surely all of our rubles, all of our drachma, all of our clams are going to go on a home win. Is that right?
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. I'm hoping. Just hoping that we do get an early goal, set the tempo really, get the crowd up. As I said, the club of them. I think you were selling pints a bit more cheaper as well to get a couple of the punters in. So I think I get a couple of bevies down everyone, and then get them all lively. And honestly, I can't wait. And it's to set up the weekend as well. Nice early kick-off on a Saturday. And then if you can get all 3 points, you can just relax and hopefully watch United lose a couple of games or a couple of big boys dropping points as well. But yeah.
I mean, what you were saying about the early goal, that was really interesting because I remember there was a period when Liverpool just scored early goals on the clock. I can't remember if it was 17-18 or 16-17, but we used to bang early goals all the time. Yeah. And when we scored early last week, I was just like, oh, because I remember last season we struggled to score goals early. We were scoring goals in the second half. But yeah, if we get that early goal, Anfield crowds, like you said, they get cheap pints in them. That'd be great. That'd be so good.
But you get the feeling as well that if we don't get that early goal, that the crowd will be very supportive, more supportive than they would be usually, because it's the first game back. So hopefully, that all bodes well. Thanks for joining us. We've got Michael the King Ape. Excellent. Not the Prince Ape, but the King Ape. Thank you very much for joining us, Michael. Thoughts on Craig Dawson? I can't say I've thought about him in my life.
The centre back. Is that the Craig Dawson, the centre back?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's Michael Dawson, yeah.
Oh, Michael Dawson.
So Craig Dawson, we don't know who it is. That's how I thought on Craig Dawson. Please enlighten us in the chat. I mean, someone Google him. I mean, I'll Google him myself. Craig Dawson.
No. Craig Dawson, I'm pretty sure he was at Watford that season. Because I remember he had like a ridiculously good end of the season. But yeah, he plays for West Ham United right now. I don't know how this is relevant to our podcast.
No, but this is good. We'll get onto the West Ham match, Michael. It's absolutely brilliant that you're joining us because we will get to it all. We will get to it all, but we're going to go through it in order that I've got in front of me, just because I'm panicking. It's my first show. The next one is Aston Villa Newcastle. Let's talk about that one. Did you see either team or both teams? Anybody last week in their first match? Because I did.
Watched a bit of the Newcastle game. Mm-hmm. They were winning 2-1, weren't they? And then it just went the whole complexion of the game. Obviously, David Moyes really turned it round. It's a difficult one. Both teams, West Ham last season were phenomenal. I think they were like 2-3 points off top four. Weren't they the back end of the season? Went above expectations, but that's typical David Moyes. He's had that desired impact in which the owners wanted, and made them very defensively resolute. Whether they can do it back-to-back seasons, depending on squad depth. Liverpool had injuries last year, and I think West Ham, if they're only very much one injury away from Antonio to really be, who did he playing up front? Did he play Jared Bowen and that? But yeah, and St. Maximin, we were speaking off air, weren't we, Owen? Probably one of the most exciting players in the Premier League when he's up for it.
He's a genius, man. He's a genius. Sam Maxima. Ben's joined the stream. Hello, Ben. How's it going? Tell the viewers about yourself. It's great that you're with us. Welcome to Copper.
Right, yeah. I'm Ben. I'm from the Blue Podcast. I'm a City fan, so it's not going great at the moment for us, but yep.
Yeah. What went wrong, Ben? I mean, who are your... Because I was going to ask you who your heroes and villains were. I imagine you've got a few villains from last week more than heroes.
I mean, if you ask any City fan, the villains are definitely Ake and Mendy, but I get why he played that team is because the international's only been back for a week. So I get it, but then it also didn't really make sense because then he was playing like Sterling and Grealish and Torres who have been involved in those internationals. So I don't quite understand it, but I get the sort of overall thing. But when you're playing Ake and Mendy in a back four, you're basically asking to concede. You're bound to concede when you got Ake and Mendy in a back four.
You wouldn't I don't know. I don't want to be too harsh, right? But how much did they cost? About 80 million between them?
Yeah,
it's
awful. Even? Awful.
So can you not blame apportion some of the blame to the recruitment process or the fact that Guardiola hasn't managed to get the best out of them yet?
I guess a bit of both, but I think it's been a problem for City since the new owners took over. Our recruitment has been absolutely fantastic everywhere else on the pitch except defence. We just don't seem to be able to do it in defence. Just nothing's stuck. We almost got lucky with Ruben Diaz. He's the first defender that was signed in years that has been quality, and thankfully, he was one of them, a key player for us. One of the key reasons we won the Premier League last season. But up until that point, it was just nightmare after nightmare. Sorry.
No, continue. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So obviously, got Walker, Cancelo, good players, and then left back. Since Pep's been manager, we've never had an actual left back or a good left back ever. I said this on our podcast. I would put money on. I doing a better job at left back than Benjamin Mendy. I believe that. I think I can do a better job than Benjamin Mendy. No disrespect to him. He seems like a really nice lad. But
I've never seen you play football, Ben. Maybe you're brilliant, but I mean, generally, Benjamin Mendy, the poor guy. I don't know, because but anyway, I mean, I don't know. What do you make of it, Abdul? The whole City defensive problems, despite the millions that they're spending. Why aren't they getting it right? You can build a rocket to go to space on holiday for the same price as the City defense.
Yeah, I'm probably. It's funny that Ben's a City fan because I'm actually a lot more optimistic about City's defense. I think Cancelo is potentially the best right back in the Premier League. Obviously, you've got Trent, so you can't really say he's definitely the best. But I mean, I think Cancelo, in terms of his qualities, what he brings to the ball, I think he's just absolutely outstanding. And I think he's had a good preseason. And then centre backs, John Stones, I've always been a fan of him, even when he went through a dip. And I'm glad to see that he's back now playing immense football for England and for City. Ruben Diaz, great signing for them. Interestingly, though, he was their second choice signing. So I think they wanted Koulibaly last summer, and then they went and did what Liverpool usually do, which is they got their second choice, and then it ended up being better than their first choice. Because I swear Liverpool did that with Robertson, they did that with Salah, Salah definitely, Mane. So yeah, I mean we've done that a few times. It's worked out for us, and it worked out for City last season. I think Laporte is an outstanding defender as well. I mean, he's outstanding on the ball. I think he had an outstanding Euros for Spain, considering he got to the semi-finals and he never pulled on a Spain shirt before that summer. And then their left-back situation, yeah, that's a bit iffy. But I would say Zinchenko, I think he proved in the Champions League last season that he's a top-quality player, really underrated. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, Ben probably knows better than me, but I feel like Ben Mendy has had a good preseason. I feel like he's had like a good few outings. I don't know though.
I mean, it doesn't really mean much if he's had a good preseason because he's just awful. So his good preseason is like championship standard. Like,
oh dear.
He's
He was good for Monaco, though, and that's what I wonder.
This is the
I
problem.
wonder if Guardiola's got a problem with coaching them. I don't want to be too harsh, but I've seen chinks in Ruben Diaz's armour appear in the last few months. I mean, you've only won 7 of the last 13 Premier League games.
No, I think obviously there is the recent run of form has not been great, but I think, like you say, I think part of that is we put so much into that winning run that went on for ages. So eventually you're going to have to, there's going to be a dip. That's inevitable. And then, like you say, Ruben Diaz, it's been I think that part of his dip in form is that he put so much into that run. He didn't have a great Euros, but I'm sure he's got a break now. He'll come back stronger, hopefully. But like you say, it's just I don't think it would be a Pep's coaching either, because it's just that it's when your options Ake and Mendy, like I know, like you listed off some quality players there. So this is the problem, is that these international players have only just come back for a week. So once they're back in, I'm sure they'll do better. But I mean, we'll probably get onto that. But you can have all the creative players you want in the team. If you don't have a striker, if you don't have someone to finish the chances, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. If you can, it doesn't like it's. It just doesn't, like, and it's really sort of like you look at it and you're like, it's so obvious what we need, and if they don't go and get it, it's almost a company situation, which is also part of the reason why we struggled defensively. It's until we bought Ruben Diaz, is we didn't replace company straight away.
I was going to say that, Ben. Yeah, like he was a massive presence in terms of leadership, but most importantly, quality. And what's happened with Laporte as well, Ben? Is Guardiola fell out with him, or is he just?
No, so it's from what I've gathered anyway. Is there's 3 players who are looking like they could leave, which is Laporte, Bernardo, and Jesus. All 3 want more game time. But what I've been seeing is that Laporte is looking more likely to stay than go at the moment, because there's just not a right offer that's going to come in. Bernardo is looking more likely to leave because I think apparently he's fed up with England and fed up of not playing the same position as you know, the change positions left, right, and centre, rotation, all that sort of stuff. And then Jesus, I mean, he's not a striker. He's not, like, he's a winger for me, and I think he can do a job at striker, but he plays so much better on the wing. But if he wants to leave more game time, because he's probably looking at it and thinking, hang about, like the main striker was injured last season. They were like, no, we're playing a false 9. And this season, got a proper striker, and like, yeah, we'll play a false 9. Like, he's thinking, you know what, no, that's where I'm at the club, like, whatever. So, but I think keeping Laporte will be good, because you need that. If you're gonna rotate,
you need 4 quality centre back in the Premier League.
And he can, he's done. I don't think he likes it particularly, but he's played left back. So he's a really good option to have. So, like you say, we've got good players to come back in. It's just about, obviously, those internationals, main players. The first teamers even, or just the real quality players to come back in after the internationals. But I mean, I guess you even look at sort of the midfield and attack for that game, and there's quality players there. Don't get me wrong, but they don't really play together often. I don't think. So you had Grealish in there, who's getting used to it, and then Torres. He didn't really play much last season. It's all very disjointed at the moment. So
that's the thing I think with City though. That's why I think it's perceived that they have like a defensive problem, because it's hard to actually work out what their first 11 is. With Liverpool, you can hammer out the first back four. You can say Trent's going to be right back, Robert's going to be left back, Virgil's going to be one of the centre backs, and maybe there's a question mark over the right centre back. With City, the entire back four is just up for grabs. You don't really know who's the best in each position.
I think
it all depends on form. All depends on how Guardiola's feeling that week. So it is hard for City fans to kind of feel like stable in their team. But I think towards the end of last season, when you were playing De Bruyne like false nine, you had Mahrez on the right wing, you had Sterling until to be fair, even Sterling wasn't really in the team, and then suddenly the Champions League final was in the team. It's like, what? But
let's not even talk about that. It was just bonkers. Let's not even talk about that. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just weird. It's weird. But one thing I did see that was really interesting is when it comes to rotation in managers in the Premier League, Pep and Tuchel at Chelsea, probably because they have more quality than other managers, they rotate their teams a lot more than Klopp, for example. And I think maybe that's something that players in those two teams are going to have to accept, that they're not going to hold down a position. So maybe Laporte's going to have to accept that going forward. But to be honest, just watching Laporte for Spain in the Euros, I just feel like you can't leave a player like him out of the team.
I think, like you say, the like City and Chelsea, I was saying this, City and Chelsea have probably the best squads in the league, but in terms of starting 11, I actually think City, without that striker, probably have the worst starting 11 in that top four, because we don't have that striker. And like you say, with City, you don't know what the back four is going to be. And I think what helps last season is that you sort of started to get an idea, because you knew it was going to, in important games, it was Stones and Ruben Diaz, and then probably Zinchenko left back, and then he maybe would rotate Cancelo and Walker, depending on what system he wanted to play. But you started to get an idea, so hopefully we can go back to that, because I mean, with Ake, I tried to defend him last season, saying, he's been injured a lot, not had much game time, but I just can't defend him now. He's just an absolute stinker at the start of the season. And then Mendy, like you say, he was good at Monaco, and he was good for the first 5 games for us. And then he got injured, and he's never been the same player since, which is why I don't think it's Pep's coaching. It's just he just finished him. I don't know.
It's very interesting. It's really, really interesting, and it's lovely. I'm sorry to you jump onto Cop on podcast, you immediately get all these questions about Pep's failings or someone else's failings. But thank you very much for being here. It's really interesting to hear your views. I'm interested in your views on all kinds of things. Oh, there's some feedback from someone. I don't know who it is. Hang on a moment. Maybe if I mute Abdul, maybe. Yeah, I think it's Abdul. It's coming from you. There's some kind of. I think maybe it's better with the headphones. I think that's the thing, Abdul. You can connect to your headphones. That'd be better. Great, thank you. We got a couple of messages. This one: thoughts on Salah not even being the best North African winger in the league. Up the Ben Rama. It's not like West Ham fans to get overexcited about anything, but congratulations if you think that Ben Rama is better than Mo Salah. I got nothing to say about that really, but
no comment on that, Owen.
No comment, but fair enough. He was really good last week, and that was the first time I'd ever really noticed him, to be honest. But he was really good. I really did notice him. I thought he had an excellent game. There you go. We've got a channel wanting some more hits. I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers. Okay, sure. Can't do it right now. I'm a bit busy, but when this show is over, I will certainly be, one closer to your 1,000 subscriber mark. Why the hell not? Though I am a snob with music, and I think most music's really bad. I love the music I love, But anyway, we're here to talk about the Premier League. Aston Villa, what was it? Aston Villa against West Ham. Just very quickly, is anything exciting you about this match, Jack? I mean, what's exciting you the most about it? Aston Villa.
Buendia, I'm intrigued to see how he does this year in the Premier League, and especially in Aston Villa's system. Going from the club in which he's gone to. If Watkins, I don't know if he was injured first week or was he playing anyway, but Ings, if Watkins can get fully back up to fitness, Danny Ings, I think, had that clinical nature. Surprised, obviously, he was only had like 12 months left on his contract anyway, but probably one of the signings of the transfer window, considering the very intriguing how Aston Villa will finish this year. We've seen the very much the form did dip the back end of the year. Probably they absolutely slapped us in the Premier League, and they very much reminds us every single weekend. But yeah, Buendia, if he does play that central role, I know obviously he played for Norwich down the right-hand side anyway, but it was probably one of his shock results at the weekend. I think everyone, don't get me wrong, Watford played phenomenal at the first weekend anyway, but they have got big aspirations this season considering the players in which they brought in, mate. But I'm intrigued whether they can keep up the form which they showed last year at the beginning of the season. I think they can do. And the player recruitment, Bailey from the Bundesliga, Bayer Leverkusen, very tricky winger. See if he can adapt to the Premier League. But I like the way they've got rid of Grealish, obviously of 100 million, and they very much spread the quality out, and they're not heavily reliant just on that sole player. And if all three of them can have the impact, that obviously we've seen how good Ings is in the Premier League, but in a more attacking-minded side, I think he'll do great. And if Bailey and Buendia can very much combine very well together, then you've probably got one of the most exciting attacking teams in the Premier League.
Yeah, I don't think we should take read too much into last week's performance against Watford. Because
it was a bit of a shock, wasn't it?
They were missing Douglas Luiz, and he's a huge influence on their midfield. He's absolutely massive for them. They had marvellous Nakamba, who unfortunately didn't choose, his mother didn't choose the best name for him, because I wouldn't call him marvellous, sort of, above average. She could have called him much better than Owen Nakamba, but marvellous is a bit of a stretch. Douglas Luiz is a fabulous player. But there you go. Does anything excite you about Aston Villa against Newcastle, Abdul?
Yeah. Is that better, by the way? Is there much feedback on that?
Yeah, it's much better. That's it. That's beautiful. You sound crystal clear. You could be announcing the BBC.
Lovely. I probably won't get paid as much as Gary Lineker, but I'll take it. What I'll say is it's really interesting seeing Alan Saint-Maximin last week for Newcastle. He was playing a kind of different position. He was dropping off deep into midfield, picking up the ball, dribbling up the field. And I feel like Newcastle love that, don't they? They get like a little talisman and they just say, you know what, we're going to let you off the leash. You can do whatever you want. They did that with Ben Arfa years ago, and that produced some of the best goals in the Premier League era. So really excited to see what he can do there. They've just signed Joe Willock as well, Newcastle. So another big signing for them. He might be able to play
of a team of Willocks.
Yeah, literally. He should possibly come into the team. That could be a really good addition for Newcastle. But yeah, Aston Villa's team, when they announced, they're selling Grealish for 100 million, but then they replaced him with 3-4 quality players, all expectation is on them to really take the next step as a football team. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can produce. Are they away or are they at home?
I think they're at home. I think
it's the way it appears on screen. So Villa are at home. Yes.
Yeah. So they should. Well, it's a big match to be fair against Newcastle, but they should hopefully be winning matches soon as a team. And it will be interesting because they are one of those contenders underneath the top 4, top 6 clubs who could really make this league interesting. So big match.
It should be very intriguing. To move on, because we won't spend all ages talking about all of the different clubs. We don't have time. But this one's a little bit intriguing. Do you think, Ben, or you just don't care about these clubs? Or do you think Leeds United, Everton? I'm very intrigued by both of them for different ways.
No, I don't really care. No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay,
No. I mean, it'll be.
If you give two hoots, then do tell us.
No. I mean, it should be an interesting game. Leeds United, as we know, attacking football. Everton under Benitez. I actually think, even though obviously he managed Liverpool, I think he actually suits Everton a lot more than Ancelotti suited Everton.
Very interesting.
I think.
Yeah, okay.
I think because he's got that experience with Newcastle. I think he'll do quite well with them. It's not everyone obviously both Liverpool and Everton fans are both not happy, different sections of them, but I think he'll do well, to be honest.
He's got a lot of credit in the bank. He's like what's his name, Goldsmith, going to the bank and asking for a loan. Like, it's fine with the Liverpool fans. It's just if he starts getting successful with Everton, then we're going to have to start questioning ourselves and looking in the mirror a bit harder. But it seems such a far-fetched idea that he might have any kind of success with the Ev, because they've just been a comedy club
he could
for
be
generations.
It could be because they've been that club for a while that they should be pushing for Europa League, but they never quite got there. And he could be the manager that does that for them, gets them to that pushes for that Europa League spot. Because whatever your opinion is on Everton, the squad that they've got should be in the Europa League, I think. Anyway, they've got the quality. Richarlison,
sure, maybe, Richarlison,
Calvert-Lewin,
Godfrey, I like as well.
Yeah,
Godfrey's very.
Midfield, you've got Decore, Allen. They've got good players. I'm not saying
creativity from midfield. I mean, I don't know. James Rodriguez. I mean, he's just sort of disappeared somewhere.
Yeah, that's obviously what you would say they might be lacking, but you can make up for that as Liverpool have with your midfield with hard work. I know you brought in Thiago for that creative, but in essence, you're still playing with that hard-working midfield three that has done so well for you.
Yeah, so I think it's necessary to have that. So Benitez could do that. It's a very good point. Good point.
But I mean, Bielsa's Leeds. I think I backed them to come 10th actually last season. So that's a point against my podcast co-host. But anyway,
well done. Did they finish 10th?
I think it was 10th or 9th.
Okay.
But, I backed him to do well. But I think they'll do well because, like they say, I mean, they play attacking football, not very good defensively, but they seem to sort of improve that last season a little bit. But I think they'll probably do similar to last season because they will win games and they will lose games, but like the sort of the way they play, they probably will. They'll get some decent results this season. So
they'll attack every game, basically. That's pretty much.
I mean, the thing. Bielsa, what is he? 70 years old now, Jack. And last week he sort of he went into the game at Old Trafford like a rookie, just waltzing in there with the pants down.
I love him. He's a character like Jurgen Klopp and a lot of the Premier. It's great to see characters on the touchline. He just sits there on a stool with a coffee or whatever he's bevying. And just when he's angry, I love it when he's angry. He's just like he's fuming. It's
a weird one because I think you think Pep's a purist, but Bielsa is the purest of purists. He will not change for anything, and that's why you get results where they smash teams or they get smashed because he will not change it.
Absolutely. Let's see what my mum thinks.
A prudent man does not make the goat his gardener.
The prudent man does not make the goat his gardener. Thanks, Mum. Okay, let's move on. Let's go on to the next one. Man City against Norwich City. What's going on? Norwich City fresh from their 3-0 defeat. Man City fresh from their defeat. Sorry, Ben. In the first game against Tottenham Hotspur, are you going to sleep well tonight, or are you going to be tossing and turning with nightmares about Ake and Mendy?
I mean, if he plays the same team as he played against Tottenham, I'm not looking forward to it. We will struggle. I wouldn't put it past us drawing or even losing that game if he plays the same team. Because, I mean, if you remember 2 seasons ago, we lost to Norwich, so it's possible. It can happen. So I'm hoping because the internationals are back for a couple of weeks. Those main first team players, the quality players, he'll play them, but he'll probably be like, oh no, they need more time to train. It's like they don't he needs to play them, but. So if he does play them, hopefully he'll be okay. I hope so anyway. But if he plays the same team, I'm not looking forward to it. So I'm afraid.
Wow. Have you got any questions, Jack, for Ben, or about Man City, about Norwich, this game in particular?
It's intriguing. When I look, Ben's already alluded to the forwards, Gabriel Jesus, really, and obviously bringing in Harry Kane. It's possibly. What should I reckon Pep's vision for City this year? And obviously the game against Norwich, as you mentioned, he loves to play a false 9. But do you reckon, can you foresee if Harry Kane doesn't come in the next couple of weeks, do you reckon he'll go with possibly a Ferran Torres or a Kevin De Bruyne in the false 9? Well, always.
I think he will go for false 9. I'm not sure it'll be Ferran Torres because I think he sees him. Obviously, he's a winger, but when Torres plays there, it's more as if he's an orthodox striker, even though he's not. But I think he will go for the false 9, and then I mean, I think we're just gonna have to just put up with Jesus being the alternative because he will finish some of the chances, but his shot conversion will not be.
What about Grealish?
Aguero. I mean, Grealish
is he going to put Sterling up front, or is the thing the great players can play anywhere like Salah, Jota, and all that?
But I mean, I can't see Sterling playing there because he's not great in the false 9. I think it'll be like you say, De Bruyne, Grealish, Foden. Maybe Mahrez, Gundogan, those type of players. I think Gundogan played false 9 against Tottenham last year when we beat him 3-0, and he did that beautiful goal. He'll put any of the players except Jesus, basically.
Jesus, it doesn't make sense. You're one pure striker. It's like, no, I'm not going to play him now.
I mean, you say he's our pure striker, but he was
the closest.
I know he's close. He is the closest, but he's bought as a winger. This is the baffling thing. Yeah, I think they tried to convert him to a striker, but it's just never worked. So, but he is he's just gonna then he is just gonna have to be our alternative, and his shot conversion is that of a winger's. So
it's mad when you go from having Aguero for so many years. I know he was injured the last couple of seasons, but a legendary striker like Aguero, and then you go from Gabriel Jesus. Liverpool have it in about 3-4 years' time when Salah, Bobby, and Mane are all very much retired, and they'll still be playing, but you're anticipating a very much not a big drop off, but a drop off in form. But I think you've got to be careful, especially if City do concede, as you mentioned there, mate, Aki and a couple of lads coming into the defence. If teams very much a bit more at City, they've watched, obviously, City's squad depth, which we've already discussed on tonight's podcast, mate, yourself, it's quality, but it's when those questions do get asked. If you're not delivering up front, obviously you've got quality players across the line, but it's like Liverpool last year. We had, what was it, Owen? 20 plus, and Abdul, 20 odd plus partnerships in the heart of our defence. You even had Henderson in that. But I think Pep, one thing that baffled me was Pep most of the time sometimes overthink stuff in games. And that Champions League game was the biggest factor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's Bill Shankly. I don't think Bill Shankly is famous in Spain. I've actually met a few Spanish people who are football professionals. I mean, I've mentioned Bill Shankly once or twice to tell them who he was, but he said football Of course, we know that football is a simple game complicated by idiots. And I wonder if, had Pep Guardiola learned that phrase as some kind of mantra to work on, City might have even more trophies by now. But who are we to say? Because he's won so much. I mean, he is still a very good coach.
Yeah.
Abdullah, what are your thoughts, though, Abdullah, Man City and Norwich City or Man City in general? To go wherever you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a City win. If they don't win that, then I don't know what they're doing in the Premier League this season.
Honestly, I wouldn't put it past us. If it plays the same team, I wouldn't put it past us.
Saying that, though, I mean, City I don't know, maybe I've got it wrong in my head, but it feels like these last few seasons, they always start off the league like a bit like, ugh. And then they hit November, and then they just start going on a winning streak for the rest of the season, and then just completely whitewash it. So, like you said, it's about getting the players back, the internationals, getting them up to rhythm, up to form. You've got a few kind of injury niggles as well. I think Foden is out until the international break after that, and then De Bruyne, he's got his ankle injury that is just never going away. He had that bit last season. He just needs to sit down and just get rid of that problem finally, like Liverpool are doing with Thiago. But yeah. You should have enough to beat Norwich City, to be honest. The only way that Norwich can beat you is just purely off the fact that Norwich's first 11 has probably played more than your 11 that you'll put out this weekend. But still, the quality should take you over the line. And to be fair, though, there's a lot of interesting things about the City team. So the Jack Grealish situation, I genuinely think he could possibly play that false nine for Pep. Because I was remembering his first press conference, he was saying like, oh, he can play up front, he can play on the wing, but he was kind of, he didn't emphasize it, but he was kind of saying like, he can play as a 9 if I want him to. So he could be your false 9 for a sec until you guys make the Kane signing. But one thing I wanted to ask you, do you reckon there is another striker apart from Kane who you could go for? Because
I mean, there has been some, links with I think it's what's he called, Vlahovic from Fiorentina, but I'm told that that's just completely not true. Kane is the priority, he's the only one they want, and that's it.
What about Robert Lewandowski, aka Gary Cahill? Did you see that Sky Sports? They put up a graphic with Gary Cahill's face, and it's talking about Lewandowski. Very funny. But I mean, either one. I mean, sticks of one, half a dozen of the other up front for City. I don't know.
I mean, I'd take Lewandowski, but he would cost a bomb as well, and he's older, so it's not really as cost effective. So I can't see the Kane signing happening. To be honest, I just can't see it. I think
what is it that Levi wants? Sorry, or Levy? What is it that he wants?
Is it 150, 160 million or something? And it's just.
And haven't you guys offered that?
We've offered 120 something plus add-ons.
So I just wouldn't go over that. Yeah, like that's like 20. That's like 20 quid to the Man City owners, and it's offering 20 quid on the floor. But that's crazy. Given his ankle injuries as well, you got to be careful.
Yeah, I think in the back of their head, they're thinking Haaland's available next summer for 75
million as well. Yeah,
that's in the back of their head. So they're thinking, right, we'll try and get Kane because we're basically sacrificing the season if we don't get a striker this season. But if not, then hopefully we can go and get Haaland. But that's not even guaranteed. So it's a risk in itself because every club under the sun is going to go for Haaland. Every top team is going to put in an offer because at 75 million, it's cheap as chips at this level. It's ridiculous to say, but it is like. So yeah, we desperately need a striker, but if not, we're going to struggle and be in for a tough season.
Absolutely. Let's ask my mum what she thinks.
If you can't live longer, live deeper.
I think that's a shout for Lewandowski there. Lewandowski.
That's pretty much it. I mean, Jack, very quickly, yes or no, Jack? Do you think City should sign Lewandowski over Harry Kane if they had the choice?
If you've got a bottomless pit of money, so yeah, like It's
okay.
yeah.
So, hang on, it's a yes or no question. Because now you're going to have to choose a dog. You've got dog 1, dog 2, or dog 3, and they'll tell you if you're right.
2. I go 2.
Dog 2. Okay, hang on. Oh man, the dog just does not agree.
I agree with the dog.
you, Jack. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I agree with you, but the dog doesn't. So I don't know. Okay. What's next? Jeepers. What's? Oh god, all these buttons. Brighton, Watford. Anyone give a hoot? Give a monkeys? Anyone give a turd? What are the other expressions?
I'm afraid not.
Just one thing about
Edward's got his hand up. Go on.
Brighton are trying to make some really aspirational signings. I think they're trying to target that Mark Cucurella, who's one of the best left wing backs / left midfielders in the world right now for his age. So yeah, if they get him, Graham Potter is definitely building a very, very interesting side. But yeah, I don't know who's going to win that match. Probably Brighton. They had a good comeback against Burnley last week. So yeah, well done.
Who does he play for? That Mark Cucurella? I don't know. I've heard the name vaguely.
I think it might be Espanyol. He used to play for Barcelona's youth academy, and he played in the World Cup the Olympics this summer for Spain. So no, he plays for Getafe.
I found him here. Yeah, Getafe. They go Mark Cucurella, age 23 and 29 days. He's I don't know. It's funny stats on FB Ref. I'll show you if I can. It's look at these stats. They're a bit crazy. Hang on. Share the screen. Give me a moment. Here they are. Here they are. Oh, the suspense. Look at this. So this is the scouting report against other attacking midfielders and wingers, and he's rubbish for all of this. This is all the stuff he should be good at. Expected goals. This is over the last 365 days. Non-penalty expected goals. He's rubbish at all of this. Look at that. And then you go into his defensive stats. And defensively, he's like the best defensive attacker in the world. He looks perfect for Brighton. So basically, he can do loads of things, but he can't kick it in the net. There you go.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Man City maybe after Benjamin Mendy.
Play him at left back. Play him in the false line. Okay.
I'd take anyone at left back over.
Let's no one thing from Brighton Watford I would like to see is Sarr. But let's move on. Ismail Sarr is in brilliant form. What he was last week. Southampton, Manchester United. Now, Jack. Manchester United from the outside, the old enemy. Ben, you can agree here.
Surely going to win.
They're making noise. They're not the noisy neighbours that City are, but they're making a lot of noise. And is it just the wild hacking of a donkey with something stuck in its throat, or is it the sweet sound of the ghost of an operatic prima donna who's waking up from 1,000 years slumber?
I thought you were describing Annie Maguire's defending there, mate. But yeah, it's a great team. There's no doubt in that. I think Man United would be very much complimented if they got like a Wilfred Ndidi, like a DM that can just sit and allows Bruno Fernandes and Pogba to do the stuff. And Pogba had a good weekend, first time in a very long time. He only got 3 assists in the whole of last season in the Premier League, and he got 4.
Oh, wow.
Great.
Wow.
He should be. I know if he turned out 4 assists every weekend, he'd be on 100 assists. But that squad is capable of challenging. It's just the man management. It's Solskjaer. I'd be a bit more concerned if you had a Antonio Conte or a Guardiola or Klopp, someone that can very much until United win something with the PE teacher, Ollie, then fair play. Obviously, in the Europa League should have won that. Obviously, we only finished 4 points behind them, considering we had a depleted defence, and they only finished 5 points ahead of us. So, he should challenge for the league. but I don't think so. They should batter Southampton at the weekend. But it's whether, for me, I don't really rate Maguire. He's an okay defender. But there's going to be a big difference between playing alongside Ramos with Varane, and then you're playing against Harry Maguire. But it'd be interesting to see how they do combine. And I don't think Varane probably. Do you reckon he'll play this weekend, boys? I know he's just signed, but I don't think fitness-wise, he possibly will play. But yeah, it's United should be bossing it in the league, and I think a lot of people have got them as favourites in the Premier League. I know Liverpool, City, and Chelsea, but outside favourites. But for me, if you get a better manager, but for me, no. That's probably me. The sheer biasness is probably coming through my voice anyway, mate. But I've just listened. I've just looked at everything on social media. They've got a phenomenal squad. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think they have. I don't know your opinion on it, Ben, but I think that they have definitely improved. But they've got a really good front four, because you can say Cavani is not too old yet. I mean, he's still good. He's still a good player. I wouldn't call him exceptionally brilliant and likely to cause fear all over the league, but he's certainly someone that you go, oh yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to playing Cavani. Greenwood is an incredible talent. Rashford is always dangerous. He's a little bit overrated, but he's a lovely guy, so we'll allow that. And who's the other one? And of course, Bruno plays in the number 10, and Sancho, their new guy. So there you go. They've got a front four, and of course, Fernandes coming forward. That's really good. That's up there. That's challenging. And then you move into midfield. They got Fred Flintstone, McTominay, Matic, and I can't remember who else. And
Pogba.
Go on, yes. Oh, sorry, Pogba. No, yeah, okay,
yeah.
That's good. He's a good player, poor Pogba. With the ball, but without the ball. Ben, I think what I'm trying to do is convince myself that they're rubbish and they're miles off it. How do you see it, Manchester United, from the outside?
I mean, like you say, I think they've definitely improved. Maybe the squad isn't quite as strong as the Chelsea, but the starting 11 is absolutely fantastic. I think Sancho is a quality signing, he's a quality player, but I think Varane is the key signing. I think he'll be the difference between United last season and this season. He'll be the one who makes them more consistent, which is why they should be challenging, basically.
I don't know. They got 71 points last season, right? 71 points. And I'm saying that Sancho, Varane, these signs, big signings for them, will improve them by like 10 points, maybe even 15. But there's another thing in this, and Abdul, I'm going to come to straight away, excuse me. But there's the whole contact sport thing, which is back this season. And honestly, I watched a lot of Manchester United last season because they lost a lot of games, and it was lovely to see. And when they were winning, I just switched them off. I'm that petty. But whenever, the slight greys turned into they've been, hacked down by a necromancer's spell or something. I don't know. It was absolutely embarrassing. And they'll have a lot less of that this season. And I think that's a factor that people aren't picking up on, is that Bruno Fernandes has had 25 penalties in 2 seasons, and he's bound to have. I know it's unbelievable, isn't it? I don't think Liverpool have had. I think we've had about 16 since Klopp arrived in 5 years. 25 in 2 seasons for Bruno Fernandes, and Abdul. I think that's going to be something that people aren't talking about. But they United. I think they'll improve by 10 points. I'm going to say 81 points is their maximum this season.
Yeah, I don't really know how to place United, to be fair. I think, top four team in the league at the moment. I think their business this summer, they've addressed some areas of concern, but they haven't addressed the biggest area of concern, which is that defensive midfield. Ollie keeps talking about, he wants to switch to a 4-3-3 and play with like 2 attacking 8s, which I'm guessing is going to be Pogba and Bruno. But how can you hold that down with McTominay or Fred? You can't. Or Matic, he's just passed it. So they needed to go out there and make a Fabinho type signing that Liverpool made a few seasons ago. But unfortunately, I just don't think the player's out there in the market. Unless they're going to go and sign Casemiro, there isn't a player who can hold down Pogba and Bruno going forwards. It looks like they're keeping Pogba. So like Declan Rice is the name that's bandied about as an option. I'm not sure I think he's quite good on the ball going forward, but I'm not sure he's good enough on the ball going forward to completely cement them in as title challengers.
He's
Varane,
Tomasz Soucek. Carry on.
Exactly, yeah. I think Varane is absolutely a signing that they've needed to make for a couple of seasons. They thought they were making it when they signed Maguire, and they did to an extent. But yeah, I think Ben was saying he doesn't really rate Maguire that much as a defender. I don't think that Maguire's an amazing defender. I think he gives that kind of leadership and he's, vocal. But Varane is really, and you saw it from the way that they presented him on the weekend, he's really their Van Dijk kind of signing. So yeah, he will definitely shore up that that defense. But the right back, they've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And again, yeah, he's great defensively, but doesn't really give you so much going forward. So defensive midfield and right back, they just got a couple of question marks over that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what United do going forward, but I don't see anything beyond top 4.
Very interesting. Very interesting. You should mention that. I mean, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, with all of the, how lauded he is, has been, what did Ferdinand say? Europe's best defensive right back. His tackle success rate, percentage-wise, 65%. Trent Alexander, the worst defensive right back in England, his tackle success rate is 63%. There's 2% difference. And then if you look at all of the other factors that come into play in a football field, Trent is a zillion years ahead of him. I think Wan-Bissaka is overrated. But yes, he can do a solid enough job. But it's overrated. So you're saying top 4 maximum. You would say they are definitely not title challengers, Abdul?
If they make a surprise defensive midfield signing, even if it's like a defensive midfielder who I haven't heard of, but suddenly I do some research on him. It's like, oh yeah, this kid is very highly rated amongst the scouts and the football managers. Then yeah, I would be like, okay, fair enough. United could challenge here. But if they don't make that defensive midfield signing, then I don't see them beyond top 4.
I agree with you. You're going to have to choose a dog, though. Is it number 2 or number 3? Are they the ones that are left? Number 1 and 3? Which ones are left?
Number 1 and 3 is left, so I'm just going to go number 3.
Number 3. Okay, that means I've got to find it. I don't know. I don't know where I put these dogs. Here. Dog 1, dog 2. Oh yeah, dog 3. He's an overlay. Where are the overlays? Dog 3. Oh, there it is. I couldn't. I'll
take that
then. There you go. So there you go. The dogs have spoken. Man United not going to win the league. The next one, are they much to talk about? Oh yeah, Wolves, Spurs. Nah, no one cares. Arsenal, Chelsea. Arsenal, Chelsea. Ben, do you care about this one? Are you laughing at Arsenal? You looking at the Ramsdale? What was his name?
I mean, it's just yes. I mean,
Aaron Ramsdale.
Their transfer activity has been strange, but I think Chelsea will win this one easy. I think in my opinion, I think Chelsea are favourites for the league. To be honest, I think United will be challenging, but I think Chelsea are favourites just because they've got one of the best squads in the league, and also the signing of Lukaku. Even though I don't rate him personally, he's a goal scorer, and that's what they needed. So with that and the squad they've got, I think, in my opinion, the favourites. And for this game, I can't see any other team winning it other than Chelsea. No offence to Arsenal, but yeah, Chelsea.
No, that's right. But I'm curious, why don't you rate Lukaku? I always thought of him as a brilliant player. Well, He's got his limitations, but then most players do. But when he's effective, the things that he's effective at, he's super effective.
Absolutely. He's a quality goal scorer, but I think it's partly because he used to be a United player, and partly because with Pep being our manager, you like a certain aesthetic of player, and he doesn't quite suit that.
You're going all tiki-taka on us, okay?
Yeah. But I'm not saying he's an awful player. Like, he's a quality goal scorer, and that like you say, he's got power, pace. What he does well, and like it's sort of his effect on games. There's no denying that, but I'm just not personally a fan. That's all.
Fair enough. Jet, do you think Lukaku's going to be the man to? I mean, they need a huge improvement. I think they were 67 points last season, and to go from 67, you might need 90 or more to win the league this season. Is Lukaku plus the buzz of the Tommy Tuchel effect and the Champions League win is all conspiring to a Chelsea favourites for the title shout?
You got a good enough squad and you got a good enough manager. It's whether I'd agree with Ben really in relation to Lukaku. I felt Serie A very much suited his style of football. I think he honestly didn't even know what hit them, the Italian defenders. For a big ROM. If you sort out his touch, and I think for me personally, he's underachieved in his career. Lukaku, I think he burst on the scene at a young age of 18, didn't he? And went to United, didn't really impress. I think Man United fans were very much disappointed with the performance level in which he put up. But Chelsea, if you can get Timo firing, it's that big question mark around Timo Werner. Whether they literally bounce off each other, I think that could be a very good combination up front. And for the Arsenal game, I watched them against Brentford, and so bad. Like they're not the legendary Arsenal that we all used to I grew up on. The Vieiras, you've got the lack of leadership throughout that Arsenal squad is definite. Really, there's no leadership at all. And the fact that they're going to looking like getting Ramsdale, probably being one of the worst goalkeepers in the Premier League in the last 2 seasons, he got relegated, didn't he? So if Romelu Lukaku is he'll literally run rings around that Arsenal defence, and he'll probably bang in about 5-6 goals. But positive Chelsea win, but it could get very messy if the Arsenal that turns up against Brentford. But I think if Lukaku can get his head down and get a good combination play with Timo Werner, and they get a good understanding of ones, and obviously Kai Havertz behind them anyway, if they can get a bit of chemistry between them, I think it's looking very lethal if they can all hit the ground running.
Yeah, great answer. Yeah, I agree. I just noticed the time. We've been going for 1 hour 70 minutes. If any of you have to dash off, then please do. If you've got to go down the road, get a pizza, or I don't know what you do on Friday night. You guys, I don't know. You might.
I'm enjoying it, Owen. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. What did you say?
I'm enjoying it, mate. Yeah, got as long as you want.
I'm really enjoying it too. It's absolutely lovely to be here. But I think is Lukaku the person to take City, to take Chelsea to the title? We're going to have to ask Dog One. There you go. So maybe it's Lukaku. The dog's saying Lukaku is the one, man. Okay. And so there you go. We got a couple more games to talk about. I can't really be bothered to talk about West Ham Leicester. I mean, it's intriguing. I'd like to watch it because I do like watching Souček, and Ben Rama was great last week. The Hammer who was in the chat before. I mean, he was really good last week, and they got a few players that are nice to watch. And Antonio, of course, Mikel Antonio, wonderful player. Leicester City. Also good to watch, but I just can't be bothered to talk about it. We've got loads of other stuff to talk about. We've got Crystal Palace, Brentford again. Likewise, I don't know. I just don't want to, because Ben's here, and I've got one more question maybe for everyone, is to talk about outside of your bubble, right? Outside of your bubble, what do you actually think of the Liverpool team, right? And if you were the manager of Liverpool, and if you can imagine you wanted Liverpool to win, which might be a bit of a stretch, what would you do? Like, would you sign any players? You know, and what do you think of Liverpool from the outside? You know, do you think our squad is too weak to challenge? What do you think of it?
I mean, it's been the same for quite a few years now with Liverpool. The starting 11 is absolutely fantastic, you know, and then when you get to the sort of the squad and the bench, you start to think, not too sure. But if you don't get injuries, you're fine. Like, that's why last season it didn't quite work out, because you got those injuries and you didn't quite have the squad to do that. But you've addressed that somewhat with the Konate signing. And I think you were unfortunate with Yotta's injury last season, because I think he's a quality player. He's addressed that sort of rotation that you needed in that front three, and I think you will be challenging. I think Jota is a key player, like, because when he was playing last season for you, he was scoring for fun. So having him as like a sort of I guess an almost new signing, and you know, an almost like new type of threat in that front three. I think he'll be key. I think he'll be important. And obviously, like, it's like, you know, getting the injured players back in is going to help loads as well. So yeah, I mean, I guess the only, like you say, the only question mark is sort of the squad depth. But apart from that, you know, you're fine, really. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you know, in terms of the squad depth, if you were the manager and you had, you know, a Liverpool-sized budget of like, if we sell Shaqiri and Origi and make about 20 million from those, and you got, then the owners will stump up maybe 10 million, so you've got 30 million to spend on a mid. Would it be a midfielder? Would it be an attacker in case Jota gets injured? What would you do?
Yeah, you probably say maybe a creative midfielder, maybe, because I know you brought in Thiago as that creative player, but he's not quite. I mean, he might, you know, hit the ground running this season, but he's not quite worked out last year.
He was very good in the last 10 games.
Yeah, but I think he's more of that. He's sort of. I mean, from what I've seen anyway, I don't watch Liverpool all the time. From what I've seen, he's more of that he plays more of the holding role, and sort of he's spraying the ball about, distributing the ball and stuff. He's not that forward player who's playing that.
He's not an attacking midfielder. Yeah. No.
So maybe someone like that. I don't know who, but maybe an attacking midfielder of some sort. Maybe.
Very interesting. Yeah,
you know, like a Coutinho type, maybe.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Bring him back.
Well, I heard today that we refused that deal or something. Another rumor, one of millions that I read today, was that Liverpool have again turned down taking Coutinho back, which is, I don't know. I mean, I think it could work in terms of, you know, on the pitch, but off the pitch, to take him back, the guy who feigned a bad back to force his way out of a club, saying that it was a dream to join Barcelona. And then, you know, he said in the press just about 2 months ago, it was his dream to come back to Liverpool. So I don't know. I don't believe him anymore. He's lost the faith. There you go. So there you go. We've got all of these different games. I think we've done most of them, or at least the ones that I could be bothered to talk about. But it's been really, really nice. I just wonder if you've got any final questions, any final things that you want to get. You know, any questions in the chat? You know, you can. Jack, you got you know.
Probably, I'm intrigued. I love speaking to City fans. Ben, is the target Champions League from the outside point of view? That's what Pep's dreaming about every single night, isn't it? Like, and given when Liverpool won the Champions League, we got to the final the year prior, and obviously got beat by Real Madrid, and then we went on to win it. Obviously, PSG are massive favourites this year, but do you envision, and are you expecting at least Manchester City to get to the latter stages, considering and especially if you do get Harry Kane or another attacker? Do you think that's the target for Guardiola? Obviously, the league speaks for itself. You challenge every year, but
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely is a target for Guardiola. It's the only thing that he's not won yet. I think if you asked City fans, they'd probably say, yeah, we want the Champions League, but they wouldn't want to give up that Premier League. I mean, Guardiola says it himself, Premier League is the most important. Champions League is the nicest, but Premier League is the most important. But like you say, I'd be a lot more confident in that if we got Kane or a striker of some sort, because I mean, if we don't get that striker, I'm not confident, to be honest. Like I'd say, maybe quarter, semi-finals of the Champions League, and then third or something in the league. I just can't see us doing it without.
Would
that
you
striker.
accept that though? Would you accept that, or would you start to question the manager or anything?
I mean, it'll be difficult, but if we ended up getting Haaland in the next summer, you probably go, all right then, because you've got Champions League again, and you've got that striker then, and you've got that striker for the next 10 years, hopefully. So
and they can play you at left back again.
His dad used to play for City, didn't he? So
he's got the connections. I mean, he was the player that Roy Keane completely destroyed, and
Exactly.
awful tackle. But yeah.
It's very interesting that because the Solskjaer link with Norway, and apparently United's been trying to butter him up for many years, but whether his croissant will allow himself to be buttered up by.
I mean, I'd rather not sacrifice the season and have to well, not have to, but come third and only get quarters Champions League, semis of Champions League, whatever. But it feels a bit like, it's obviously something you just have to accept, but it feels almost like Pep's first season and the season when they didn't replace Company, where we came third in Pep's first season and second in that season we didn't replace Company. And it feels a bit like that, where it's quite clearly a hole in the team, and we've not sorted it, so we're going to suffer because of it, and struggle. So it's going to, but I mean, I guess a small silver lining would be it's clear what the problem is. It's not like there's something that no one can work out, and there just seems to be a weird dip in form in the team, and it's in disarray, and perhaps going left, right, and centre trying to figure something out. It's quite clear what we need, and so it's quite easy to sort that out.
It's quite difficult when you sign players, and there's not that many top bracket players out there. You go right straight away. But obviously Van Dijk probably, and obviously Ramos when he's on top of his game, and obviously Company was at a certain level, and he's a good leader, presence. Can't believe that 40-odd screamer on his last game against Leicester, and then he jumped out of the window when that flew in. Even as a teammate, but he was you admire it from an outside when he was a very good player, and obviously when Liverpool were losing Van Dijk last year, players of that ilk really massively missed, and he can't always be replaced. I think everyone will be after Haaland and Mbappe. They are the next, but it's whether who's below that bracket. I think we'll find out next 5 years, really. But,
I think it's like you say, with it's very difficult to get those type of players, and it's why I think this season they've changed the strategy a little bit, because he wants the Champions League that much, is why they've targeted these top bracket players, your Grealishes and your Kanes, and they've broken that transfer record, because we never bought a player over 60 million. It was right, there you go, 100 million on Grealish. It's quite clear.
40 million, mate. It's 40 million.
40 million, yeah.
40 million.
Yeah. But I mean, I get what you're saying there. What a guy was saying, but that,
it was 100 million.
Transfer fees 100 million, but it's obviously they've decided, right, we're going to push for it now. That is the clear target, clear goal, and these are the top. We need to get these top bracket players to get there, and that's But
That
Abdul,
PSG. Yeah. Oh, good.
Abdul, do you have any questions with about Manchester
yeah.
City? Comments? Yes.
So just in a roundabout way, because I think the first question that you asked in this entire thing, Owen, was a really good question, talking about the future of football, how football is just becoming this thing where you need to be ultra financed to really be successful. The big question around Haaland next summer isn't going to be the transfer fee. 75 million sounds crazy to say that, that is actually quite a small figure, but what clubs are going to be competing on is his wages. Now, I think the plan by Raiola, the ultimate, parasite agent in football at the moment, is he wants to make Haaland the first £1 million a week footballer when it comes to his wages. Now, Ben, would you accept that at your club? Or do you think that goes to the moral decay of football? Or do you just not care? You want that, no matter what?
I wouldn't personally like it. And I'm not sure that City would be willing to do that because I think they're compared to other clubs, which I'll mention in a minute. I think they're a bit more money savvy because when it comes to a certain point, City are like right now. So it's like Koulibaly last season. He was there. They wanted 80 million. City were like, no, we're not doing that. There's Ruben Diaz for 60 million. The same with Kane this season. I don't think they're going to go 160. So no, not doing that. I think the clubs that would be willing to do that are probably PSG and Chelsea. If I'm being honest, I'm not saying that our owners are, saints because they're not. But I mean, that's the problem, really. That a lot of owners aren't saints, and it obviously is a moral grey area.
But would you, as a fan, putting aside, what your club would do, would you want that? Would you want Haaland, no holds barred, just do it?
I mean, if we're looking at it as a purely footballing perspective, yeah. Obviously, a purely footballing perspective, he's a striker. We need a striker. Get him. From a moral perspective, thinking someone's going to get him paid $1 million a week, you're like, that's doesn't really sit right. That's a bit dodgy. That I get why footballers are paid so much. I know it's still crazy money, but it's just because the crazy thing is that the economy and the finances of football allow for that, and they are worth that to the clubs, which is crazy. It's crazy that they're worth whatever 200k a week to the clubs because they make 200k in a day on shirt sales, some clubs on some players. So it's crazy, but it's true, and that's another moral mind thing that this thing is they're actually worth that. It's mind blowing, but that's just the economy of football.
It's very hard, isn't it? It's very hard to imagine. There was a really good book I read about mathematics and how mathematics is, abstract. The idea of numbers, they've had to be taught to us. And they're, in cultures all around the world where they don't have, education where kids learn about numbers and arithmetic at a very young age, like they do in most parts of the world. And in these places, there are lots of, for example, in Australia, an Aboriginal group in Australia, they have words for one, two, and many. And this is they have the same thing in the Amazon, a particular tribe in the Amazon. I think they have 1, 2, 3, and more. So how many kids do you have? And they have 5 or 6. It's just a lot. It's and there's something very natural about the human mind that finds it very difficult to differentiate between huge sums of money. But now that these sums are so ridiculous in football, we can't comprehend it. It's like the stars in the sky. It's why all these pop songs are popular. We just impossible to fathom. And it's very, very interesting how football has this economy, this huge monster that even the people involved in it. I mean, gosh, they talk about sports washing, etc. These kind of things. Entire governments and states and, Russian oil money and things like that. And, with Abramovich. And it's all like, it's too much for my brain. I don't know about your brains, but it's too much. My brain sort of explodes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because it's like, and the more ridiculous thing is, like, so Haaland, the transfer fee 75 million. We're like, well, no, we're like, well, that's cheap now. Like, we've become numb to it. But also, you think, oh, in terms of actual numbers, you're like, well, that's still a considerable amount. But really, the owners are just going, oh, where's my pocket change? Oh, here you go. Here's some shrapnel. Like, there's, that's nothing to them. Like,
I'm from a little island, right? A little island, which is overpopulated. There are 100,000 people on this little island, right? And now to buy I think it's a 3-bedroom house. My mum was telling me today, £800,000, right? To buy a little house because they're so overpopulated, there's not enough houses. So I worked out that and my maths is really bad, that's why I need to read books about it. It's really, really awful. But I worked out that if I was to save 200 euros, because I live in France, right? 200 euros a month, which is a lot. I teach English. I'm not a rich guy, right? So if I manage to put that aside every month, then I can buy a 3-bedroom house on the island where I was born. I think it works out in 400 years. And that's only 800,000, only, because we think only in that, in the world of football. And I don't know, all of it is madness. We've got loads and loads and loads of comments coming in. There was one from above. We have to catch up with the comments. Rafael Suarez asked us about Flamengo and the Club World Cup here in Brazil. We think the European teams play the Club World Cup with no desire. Do you think Flamengo and Liverpool was a difficult game? Or Liverpool really didn't play to the fullest? Well, that was a very difficult game. We were taking it very seriously, and congratulations to Flamengo. That was a very, very tough game. That Bobby Firmino, I'm delighted for him to have scored. But yeah, that was a really tough game.
I think that maybe it's somewhat down to the perception of the Club World Cup is different in Europe. Yeah, totally. The Club World Cup in Europe is sort of viewed as like, it's like it's almost the ilk of like the European Super Cup or something like that, UEFA Super Cup, something like that. But in South America, and that this is the Club World Cup, and it's also down to sort of it's diluted because of how many competitions there are in Europe. So, like, in England, you got Premier League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. You're in Champions League, Europa League, Europa Conference League now. It's diluted. So now when you think Club World Cup, you're like, that's just the next thing,
True.
But in South America, it'll be like, they've got, the league,
Copa Libertadores,
and then it's the Club World Cup. So
and they watch a lot of European football. They know it's at a high level, and it's the only chance to compete against European teams. And yes, I think so. Dave's LFC Chats is in the house. Riola is a parasite. Okay. Great question, Abdul. He also says, great question. And Alan's in the house as well. Hello. There you go. Owen is loving the lives now. I don't know who's live.
Live stream. The live streams.
Oh, live streams. Okay, I was going to say the live. Who's lives? I don't know. I thought you were being profound like my mum. There you go. Cheers, Alan. So Alan C, there you go. He's saying great question, Abdul. There you go. He said that before. And Doug is here from the Dugout Football Channel. That's absolutely super. I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a link in the chat, and then whoever wants to join can jump in. Guys, we're gonna go on for 5 or 10 minutes more just. Because I think my brother's arriving. But if anyone wants to duck out at any point, then please do. If anyone wants to duck in, then please do. I don't know. The Premier League in general is back. I'm really freaking glad about it. Before we go any further, let's just refer to something my mum said.
A throne is only a bench covered with velvet.
A throne is only a bench covered with velvet. I mean, she knows what she's on about, doesn't she?
Is that a metaphor for City or something?
I don't know. This is like those splotches on paper. What do you call that? A Rorschach test? What you just read into these. What you want.
I'm just expecting like some sort of money taking the mick off something. Yeah.
I don't know if my mum touched a nerve with it addressed to flower. You know, with these graphics, I don't
It's
know.
all good.
But, no, it's fine. Excellent stuff. There you go. Yeah, we just got a couple minutes to go. So there you go. Finally, then the Premier League's back. So the game, who's going to be the hero? Who are going to be the heroes and the villains this week? Hang on a moment. Can you hear that?
Who's that?
Oh man, it's the
Yeah,
Beach Boys. I love
Beach
the
Boys, yeah.
Beach Boys. It's from the album Smile. It took them 27 years to write it or something like that. But that's a song called Heroes and Villains. Who are going to be the heroes and villains this week? Jack, in the Premier League, you can pick for any club.
As I said, I fully envision Arsenal having a disaster. So one of the villains, the Arsenal defenders, or Leno if he throws in the back of the net again. So I'd have to pick a possible Arsenal player because I think that I'm excited to see how that game plans out. Obviously, the Liverpool game is very important to us, mate, but I'm intrigued, especially with Lukaku, if he has been playing. If he's back up to full fitness, if he's integrated fully into that Chelsea team anyway. I mean, you've got to throw him in. You pay all that money. I think you've just got to throw him in against Arsenal. But yeah, I'd say possibly Ben White, the villain, again, like it was in the first week. Not worth 50 million, but it's just the English tax in it for the centre-backs now.
Well, he might come good. I mean, you can't, it's too early to write him off after one game. But yeah, it does seem like another strange Arsenal, what do you call it, decision in the recruitment market. There you go. Abdul, what about you? The heroes and the villains? Oh, sorry, your mic. There you go. Hang on. What happened? Is that me?
Sorry, it's my bad. I was saying I'm looking at the fixtures right now, and yeah, I mean, maybe Brentford. They've got their first London Premier League derby. If they get a positive result in that, they can definitely be heroes this weekend.
Good shout.
Yeah, West Ham, Leicester as well. That's a big game, kind of the top four outsiders. Yeah, it could be. If West Ham win that, that's a big result for them. Wolves, they could come out potentially against Tottenham with a big result. I think ultimately, though, yeah, I think Arsenal-Chelsea, that's going to be the match everybody's watching. I think Lukaku's going to come out a big winner this weekend. I've captained him on my fantasy team, so yeah, here's hoping for a hat-trick. Obviously, that's just the fantasy team side of me, not the Liverpool side, yeah.
He's straight in, is he? Straight in, and captain's armband as well. There you go. Do you play fantasy Premier League, Ben?
I'm afraid not, but I do know Lukaku's had a few transfers in this week. But I mean, before when you first asked the question, I was thinking, as much as it pains me to say it because I'm not a fan of him, but I do think Lukaku's going to hit the ground running and be, like as you say, one of the heroes this weekend because. He's made a lot of it how he's matured and stuff, and I think because it didn't quite work out last time at Chelsea, he's going to be really up for it and raring to go, and really sort of fired up. So yeah, Lukaku, I think, yeah.
The Mo Salah effect.
And yeah, and any villains, Ben? Anyone who's not going to do well?
Nathan Ake again this week.
Yeah, if Nathan Ake and Benjamin Mendy start, definitely those two. Like guaranteed.
Oh dear.
Hopefully they don't start again.
Okay. And what? Yeah. Okay. Grealish in the 8 as well. I don't know. In the number 8 role, coming from midfield, a hero or a villain or a bit of both.
I think he'll. I mean, maybe not a hero, but maybe not a probably not a villain either. I think he'll just, he's just getting used to it, and he'll just have a standard performance because he did quite well against Tottenham, but he wasn't like setting the world alight, but he wasn't doing awful either. So, yeah. So hopefully he can get a goal and he'll be a hero, but I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, who does at this stage? That's why we love watching the football. I think I'm gonna, my hero this week is going to be Sam Maxima again, because he's a bit of a hero. Non LFC related. His blue headband. Have you seen it? He's like the Karate Kid or something. And I don't know.
I definitely couldn't pull it off, Owen. He had a Gucci one in Ligue 1, didn't he? I think he got banned because obviously the sponsors and all that, but he looks sound. I think I might have to wear one of it if my hair grows a bit longer. Like, so.
Yeah, me too. We'll turn up for that next week in a tribute. And the villains, Crystal Palace. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't have. They got lots of trouble. They haven't recruited enough players, and even if they do recruit enough players, it's going to take a long time for them to gel. By which time,
especially like Patrick Vieira own as well, isn't it? Like how well he impacts.
He didn't have a good season at Nice, but I'm glad he's got a chance, because I think
I don't rate Vieira, to be honest.
Well, his track record isn't the greatest, but no, I think he needs a chance. But to get a chance at Palace, they need a lot of patience, because they've been hodgied, and it takes a while.
That takes it out here. Yeah. We had 6 months of it, and then we couldn't deal with any more.
It took us about 3 years to get out of that. Those 6 months. They felt like the Hodgson years, didn't they? But it was just 6 months. Anyway, guys, I think that's all we've got time for. Thank you an awful lot. This is the sort of pilot episode of the the Premier League preview show, and I really enjoyed it. Great to have your views, Ben. So thank you for being so brave. We were planning on having a United fan and a Chelsea fan, but they didn't turn up. Much like they won't turn up in the title league.
Oh,
yeah. Fingers crossed.
I hope City turn up like I have, anyway.
But I don't know. Thank you so much. You're very, very, very brave. Tell everyone about the Blue Podcast, please.
Oh yeah, just it's the Blue Podcast on YouTube, and the Blue Podcast one on Twitter and Instagram. Find us there. And the other host is a Chelsea fan, so yeah, it's a pure Chelsea fan as well.
Excellent.
I mean, yeah.
Excellent, marvelous stuff. It's great to have different opinions. Really, really appreciate it, and I also love hearing the opinions of my Liverpool supporting brethren, Jack and Abdul. Jack, Mac, tell everyone about your channel and your socials and things, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on, Owen. I really do appreciate it. Love to speak to Ben and Abdul, and everyone in chat as well. Just Jack Mac LFC on all socials, everyone, and hopefully we get a positive season this year. Fingers crossed.
Sure.
I get fingers crossed, exactly. Abdul, thank you a million. Where can people find you?
You probably don't want to follow me on Twitter because I tweet a lot and not necessarily about football. But I do have a Twitter account. It's just ABDXLA. So yeah, you can follow me there on Twitter. But I do run Watch LFC, which, funnily enough, today came back from suspension. So it's been gone for a while. But yeah, that's my my passion project, where I kind of post a lot about Liverpool. So yeah, follow watch_LFC.
It's a great
definitely
account.
Yeah, the best on the
everyone get on there, even if you're not a Liverpool fan, Ben. You get some great content on watch_LFC. Absolutely. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thank you for the kind messages. Dave says, well done, Owen. Yeah, terrified all the way through this and pressing the wrong button, and all these kind of things that would make my life more complicated. I mean, what's my mum got to say now?
Don't be childish.
So, have I got anything else that I was working on that's a bit pointless? Oh yeah, wait, was there any more dog? Did we see that one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I got that one for one of one of my replies.
Sorry. There you go. Well, thank you everybody. Anyway, it's been really good fun. So take care. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. May all of your teams win, especially Liverpool. And speak to you soon, I hope.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.